Hey guys, I'm Jenny.
I'm Ine.
I'm Shay.
And my name is Rachel.
And we're Pump Up the Volume.
And today we're going to be talking about identity and identity issues in general because I think it's something that we can all relate to and we all go through at some point in our lives. So who wants to start and talk about their problems?
So starting off, I'm going first and I'm going to talk about my identity issues. And basically, when I was a little bit younger, I had like a really big problem with finding out about finding confidence in myself and my identity, because I think I had a hard time accepting that I was like an Asian girl in front of other people at school, especially because everywhere else in my life I was always surrounded by people of the same ethnical background as me. But then going into a school with people who are either not like me, but was very hard, and this is really bad. But yeah, and I screwed this up. Is that okay? Holy crap, this is so bad. Okay. Well, anyways, I guess I had a hard time finding out confidence in being an Asian girl and just accepting who I am and always comparing myself to other people. But it's a lot better now, so I want to help people. So that's it for me.
Okay, so I'm Jenny again. And I can relate to Rachel a lot. Like, I'm also Asian, so I also struggle with the same problems. And, like, I, find it hard to fit in with, for my family in China, okay? Like, I'm not that good at Chinese, so I don't fit in with them. And then, in America, I look different. So that's why I feel like I don't fit in. And then another big problem is body image, but we'll probably get into that later in the episode if you keep on listening. On social media these days, there's so much comparison, and I'll just find myself comparing myself to everyone. So yeah.
Very, very true. So for me, earlier this quarantine, I had a whole phase of I would just go on BuzzFeed or whatever and search up 1,000 different personality tests because I just wanted to know my personality more. I'm kind of over that now, and I just kind of accepted that it is what it is, and I'm just gonna go with the flow. And for the Asian thing, I can kind of relate to it, but not as much because I'm mixed and I look white. So when I go to China, I get special treatment. I don't really feel I can kind of fit in with them, but not really. So, yeah. Shay?
Yeah, so I basically relate to all of you guys. I mean, mostly Ine's because early quarantine, I was also taking personality tests to try to find my identity, which didn't really work, but it was really nice. It was really fun to learn about yourself. But I also think I was using that as security because I didn't really know who I really was. And I thought a test could tell me who I was, which I realized that I need to find that out myself. And also, I think comparing yourself, like everybody else said, is a really big issue that I face. Then I think everybody faces throughout their whole life. So, yeah.
All right. Okay. So the first topic we're going to be covering is comparison, comparing yourself to other people. That was a big one. And I think the biggest one I saw was people comparing to themselves on social media.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, we got these responses all from our Instagram at Pump Up the Volume. So
shameless plug, Rachel. Well, Jenny kind of turned the questions into a bunch of bullet points. I guess turning it into a question would be, how do we avoid comparing ourselves to people on social media, and not letting clothes or body standards define who we are?
Okay, for me, a method that's like kind of effective for me is like taking Instagram breaks, and it doesn't have to be super dramatic because like I know it's kind of like impossible to do. Impossible. Sorry about that. It's impossible to do that. So you just have to take tiny little chunks, like just a minute is already enough for me. And it just I'm exaggerating, but like it helps so much. Like thank me later. Yeah.
I'm probably like the worst person to ask about this because I compare myself so much, but I think you really have to learn through time and life in general to really love yourself and be confident in yourself and your own body, and maybe keep like a list of achievements or something to make you feel better about yourself. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Okay, so what I mean, on social media, basically you're comparing yourselves right now to like you looking at them on social media to their best moments. Those are like all very staged and not really real. I mean, there's a lot of editing that goes into it a lot of times. And so, taking me for example, I know you guys don't compare yourselves to me, but just as an example, I'll take like 100 photos and I'll like 3 of them and I'll post them and they still won't be that good. So think of like all those influencers. They probably take a lot of photos and those are just like the moments they specifically picked and curated for you to see. That's like the most impressive moment of their lives.
Yes, okay. And I also have another tip, guys. I'm no pro or anything, but okay, so like if you struggle with body image, which I do a lot, like if you follow people who are like similar as you, who have like the similar body images, it might like make you feel better. Or like similar, I don't know, like things. Like if you like to like eat food, but you're not secure about eating food, you can just like I'm sorry, guys.
I think what Jenny's trying to say is find relatable sources or like people she can relate to.
Yes, yes.
And I think what Ine said was just so correct. I was lucky shook. But it is true. Those people are in their best moments. Those people you see on social media, whether it be your friend or a model or an influencer, whatever. Those people are in their best moments and they've prepared for those pictures. They have gotten the best photographers that they can find, or they have edited their photos to perfection, quote, quote, perfection. So you can't compare your face in action to an image that has been thoroughly prepared for, because that's only destructive to yourself. And the thing is, you just need to wait for your best moment. You need to prepare for your best moment, and you'll look just as good. So don't compare two different situations, you know? Because it's not saying that your everyday face in action is not beautiful. It's just saying that your everyday face in action isn't in a similar context to one that has been prepared for and put in a pose like a model does to highlight their best moment. Just wait for your best moment and you'll look just as good.
Okay, first of all, Rachel, you have such a good podcast voice. And also, I think it just really helps to know that you're not alone in this situation. I know this is really cliche, and everything I've said so far is cliche, but no pun intended. But yeah, I think you just have to realize that you're not alone in the situation, that everyone basically goes through this.
Someone said, I feel like I'm mediocre being gifted as a kid. Oh, being gifted as a kid made me feel more special than I am. So I've been seeing this a lot. Like a lot of people say that they feel like they compare themselves to other people because they're mediocre in their daily lives. Like they're not bad, but like they're not like outstanding or something. And
But I feel like everyone goes through this, like, because especially when, okay, for example, like in an elementary school, like if you're top from there and then we all go to this magnet school, you're gonna feel like mediocre.
I mean, being mediocre isn't bad. It means at least you're not. I mean, like that means you're still pretty good at something, you know. So
Yeah, and to be honest, you're probably not even mediocre. I mean, like we're all our own worst critics. So I really think you just have to focus on your successes rather than fixating on your failures. And I think there's this whole thing, or like stereotype in your society, that if you focus on like the good things about yourself and your successes, then you're a narcissist, which is totally not true. And like you're just loving yourself and being good to yourself. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like even though you're mediocre though, it's really important to find like a way to take your your mediocreness into advantage, kind of, if that makes any sense. Like you can put it and like you can utilize it to oh wait, I'm stuck. Can you guys help me out? How can you take your mediocreness into advantage? Like how can you take advantage of it or something?
Well, if you're mediocre, I'm saying this with air quotes, you can't see it, but then you're probably a really well-rounded person. So you have a lot of things that you're kind of good at that you can choose from. So take what you like most from that and then follow that passion and try to become really good at it.
Yeah, I agree with Heidi. Or sometimes, like, if you're like me, for example, just like set low expectations. And so other people will think, oh, you can only do this. But then you just come back one day and you just surprise them.
Yes, Jenny, do the minimum so you can only go up from there. And also, if you're like really good at one thing, I feel like you get tired of that after a while, because then that becomes like your identity.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're like the best at one thing, then that's just like your whole personality people see.
Yeah. For sure.
Which then like when you start like not liking it, then like who are you? You feel like, you know?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next topic, which is clothes, appearances, stereotypes, stuff like that. So a lot of people were talking about either not feeling like they fit into a specific stereotype, or people put them into a stereotype and they don't want to be in that stereotype. So how do you get out of that stereotype?
Yeah. That stereotype. I guess, okay, the thing is, something I've learned is that no matter what you do, no matter how much time passes, there's always going to be stereotypes against you. But the only way you can break out of a stereotype is not feeding into it. For instance, I guess, I don't know if this is a good example, but as an Asian girl, or like our expectation is that you have to be smart, you know? You have to be perfect, you have to be number one, and you, like, it's the model minority myth. That's the thing. That was our stereotype, kind of. And we had to follow that. And I think, in a way, seeing that, I mean, part of that stereotype can be seen as true in some people's eyes, but the way I was able to overcome the pressure of that is realizing that that stereotype doesn't define me, kind of. Like, I'm me, I'm Rachel, and that's all I'm ever going to be. No matter what happens, I can't change that. I can't change the stereotype. The only thing I can do is learn to find, like, not pressure myself with it, kind of. So,
I think maybe you should like get educated. Maybe like read up how to deal with stereotypes and like read about how they affect other people and what they mean. Because I think the more you know about them, the less likely you are to engage in them and in the behaviors. And I think we just really have to stop boxing each other in and labeling ourselves, because I think you don't see people to their true potential when you do that. And a lot of these people don't see themselves to their true potential because they see themselves as a stereotype, because it's so ingrained in our society. So
okay, so I had my hand up before Jenny. Excuse me. Okay, so as I was saying, if you feel like you're not enough of this one stereotype, but you're not enough of this other stereotype either, and you're like kind of in between and you don't know where to go, try seeing it as a good thing. I mean, like, if you feel like you're in between stereotypes, then try to see as, oh, I have the best of both worlds. I'm good in this area, but also in this area. I mean, like, ask yourself why you even want to box yourself into one specific stereotype. because I mean, stereotypes can be harmful, and like pretty much everyone knows that they're not true.
Yeah, and be the change you want to see in the world. That does not relate to this at all, but yeah, do that.
Do that too.
Okay, so the next question, or I guess bullet point, is wanting to wear something or post something but being afraid of what others would think. So, anyone or Ine?
Okay, I say wear it. I mean, I know you're afraid of what others will think, but if you want to wear it, then wear it. And you probably look good in it and you're overthinking it. I would say just go for it. But if you're not confident, try to build up some confidence or just go for it and then see how confident you feel afterwards.
Yeah. And adding on to what Ane was saying, I am not the most confident person in the world. So these words aren't mine. They're from someone else who claims that they're confident. But I think it's really helpful because they said that they were able to gain confidence by realizing that most of the time people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they are. For instance, no matter what happens, people will always gossip about you. They will always have an opinion about you. They will always judge you for what you look like or what you wear or whatever you do, embarrassing or not. But the reality is that nobody stays up at night thinking about you. They are too preoccupied with their own issues and their own problems that they honestly don't have the time to think about you and judge you or reflect about you, especially. So that should give you confidence because now you know that whatever you do doesn't really have an impact on other people. Whatever you want to wear, whatever you want to feel like, it doesn't have an impact on them. So you can learn that you don't honestly have to care about what other people think in the long run. And this person also said that a way to gain confidence is that even though it's very hard to not compare yourselves to other people, a good alternative is that whenever you say something insulting to yourself because you're comparing yourself to someone else, you should compliment yourself instead. Combat those insults with compliments. Like, if someone was smarter than me, I'd probably say, oh my gosh, that person is so much smarter than me. But I am a diligent person. I work really hard to get to where I am. Something like that, as an example. So basically, confidence is definitely achievable as long as you put in the effort. So there you go.
Or just post it and be confident.
Right.
I don't care what these people think. Like, this is me or something. Like, I'm me.
Yeah, that's good too.
I mean, what are they gonna do? Like, what's the worst they could do? Think that, oh, like, look, she's wearing that. Like, I mean, it doesn't really matter what other people think because everyone's gonna have their own opinion anyway.
Yeah, and the only way you'll overcome something is to face it, honestly.
Preach.
So another big category we had was friends and people feeling like their friends kind of defined who they were. I don't really know if they meant particular friends or like their general social group, but what would you guys have to say on that?
Yeah. For me, I've been in a lot of friendships where I changed my personality for those people, and I'm pretty sure everyone here can probably relate to that. And sometimes I feel like sometimes some friendships are like that can be toxic, kind of, being in a friendship that changes your personality. But also sometimes, if you find it hard to like distance yourself away from that friend because you feel like that friend is still a nice person, then just show them who you are, And if they don't appreciate you or accept you, even after you reveal who you are, that's when you know that you should distance away from them,
I would say friends are there to help you, to support you, to make you feel better when you're sad, to make you happy, to inspire you. So, like, it's almost like the friends you choose, you should be proud to, like, I mean, it shouldn't define your identity, but it's also kind of, it, like, has to. It inevitably defines you. So just, I don't know. That's my thought.
Yeah, if they don't support you, then I think you should just cut them out or confront them about it. I mean, I know it's like easier said than done, but I mean, if they don't support you, then I think it has to be done, because I think support is like one of the number one things in friendship. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah. But my only thing is that it's sometimes really hard to like cut off friendships. That's the thing. Like I've been stuck in friendships for so long and not being able to cut toxic people out of my life. But sometimes a lot of it is like instead of them being a bad person, I feel like a lot of times I've misunderstood people and thought that they wouldn't accept me for who I really am. So I feel like first try being honest to yourself a lot, and then try being honest to other people. And if they don't accept you, they're not worth it. Like Shay, Aine, and Jenny have said, they're not worth it if they don't accept who you really are.
I feel like if you change your personality for someone, like, I don't think that's like a healthy friendship.
Right.
Because if they don't like who you truly are, then are they even your friends? You know, like you're just putting on you're being like an actress or like an actor. Like,
Yeah. Another piece of advice I would give is maybe like be nice to everybody. So you always have like a lot of people that you could, I mean, they might just be acquaintances with, but if you find that you like talking to someone a lot, then you can try to build closer relationships with them and have them be your friend. Like you don't have to always just stick with one person.
yes, be kind to people and treat others the way you want to be treated.
This one is anonymous, by the way. So, yes.
Also, if you're really at a last resort, hit me up. I will be your friend. Actually, any resort, I will always be your friend.
Yeah, and also hit me up at Shay Camardo, and I'll be your friend because I'm desperate for friends, and also I'll probably answer really fast because I have nothing to do with my life, so that's a total plus. And also, you can follow me, so yay.
And me too. Instagram is @_Jenny_Lee.
Okay, so we had a really long question. I'll read it right now. Yeah, all of them are anonymous. Okay. So she says, I have a disease where I get sick all the time, and when I leave stuff early because I'm feeling bad, a lot of people think I'm faking to leave early because I don't like them. And it's taken me a while to really know that I'm valid in my feelings and in my sickness, even though it's not super serious. She asks how to feel like you aren't faking something that you created in your head about yourself when those around you are skeptical. I kind of butchered that. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. So I guess I'll talk about this one, I think. So it's from that, it's very hard to kind of grab a context from that question, but I mean, to the whole feeling like I'm faking something, I'm gonna guess that she's saying that like either she's making a big deal out of it, or and she feels like she's maybe like overthinking it in her head. But what I want to say is that, like you've said, your opinions are 100% valid. Like no matter what you do, you know yourself the best, right? So if you feel like this disease is something that something that's taking over your life, or it is a part of your life, then and it's not something you can fix, right? So it's completely valid, and your friends need to understand that they should support you, honestly. Like if my friend had the same situation, you should never question a friend about that first. Number one rule in the friend book is always support first. Sometimes, yeah, you know.
So, okay, next category we have is race. So, everyone here is Asian, so we'll be able to relate to that a lot. But we'll. Okay, so here I'll read some questions. One said, being Asian and American, staying with family in China can get so awkward. I know we already touched on this, but if you guys want to say a little bit more.
Okay, so I have family in China because my family is all from China. And whenever I go back, I just like, even though I look the same and like people on the streets selling like potatoes will think I'm native. But like, because I, at my own like house, in my China house, not my house, but my relative, like I just sense like a non-fitting. It's like I don't know their culture well enough, and it's just kind of unexplainable. But it's just race, and it's just yeah. Shay.
Yeah, and to be honest, I can't really relate to this, but I just really want to touch on briefly about being Asian and also being like adopted. And like I'm living with a white family basically like my whole life. So I feel like it just changes things a lot as on the outside you're look Asian, like you look Asian, but on the inside you're raised by white people. You don't really have much Asian culture besides like your outer appearance or like anything that defines you as Asian. So I felt like I always kind of didn't fit into either stereotypes because on one hand I wasn't Asian enough because I basically didn't have any like cultural Asian values really, and on the other hand I wasn't white enough because my outer appearance is not white.
Yeah, I completely understand what you're talking about.
Okay, so back to that being in China with relatives thing, I think a big thing of it is that like the Chinese culture is really different from the American culture. I've been to China like 9 times, so I can say this. But like for example, this is one a lot of Asians know about. But when you go back to China, everyone will be like, "Oh, 你长胖了," which means you got fatter. And to them, well, my mom swears it's a compliment. She's like, "Yeah, in China, like being fat is like you're healthy and like you put weight on you." Yeah. um so like trying to understand from their point of view, like their intentions are good and not bad. And for fitting in, again, I don't really know how to do this. The last time I went was like a while ago, but I just like try to talk to people, like maybe tell people you're from America. That's already something you guys can talk about and see where the conversation goes from there. Okay, another one about race was someone said not being conventionally attractive or having Eurocentric features.
Oh gosh, I can relate to this so much. My eyelashes are shorter than like a 4-year-old little boy's eyelashes, okay? And that makes me really sad. And I'm just like, if I just could have longer eyelashes, and trust me, I tried putting coconut oil and it didn't work. But like, and I just had to accept that at last. I was just like, this is where my family is from, and I'm still gonna love myself for it because like I was born with it. It's not like I can go and write 50 essays and then it'll magically appear, right? So yeah, so I would say like it's not something you can change. It's like your features, you're born with them. You just have to accept it. I mean, there's makeup out there, but like sure, if you want to do makeup, you can, but just accept who you are.
Yeah, and if you ever feel down about yourself or like your body image, just look at pictures from like the Shakespearean time and know that it can be much worse. You could look like them. And also I think that like everybody thinks that they can't meet these standards, like or like the Eurocentric standards of beauty, because I think they're like dangerously unattainable. I think you really just have to learn that you're like a beautiful person and that society is the one that's ugly, not you. Yeah.
I mean, for the Eurocentric beauty standards, I mean, you're like, that's not actually what beauty is. That's what the standard of beauty is. And it's like socially constructed. That's what, I guess the media beauty standard, whatever, is telling you you should look like. But you're beautiful either way. And I feel like everyone feels like they're not beautiful enough for like from like some time or another. I feel like everyone is just like constantly trying to want to look better in their own way. But I mean, I don't really know what else to say besides just try to be confident and like just find out what makeup you like, what clothes you like, what you like to do with your hair. Like just try to be confident in your own way.
Yeah, so adding on to what everyone said, so I heard this on a different podcast before about this guy talking about this issue, and he said that he heard once at his own school, there was this guy who wasn't, again, like the most conventionally attractive person in the world, but he had so much confidence, and he had like the hottest girl in school, and he was so confident in whatever he did. And so when he asked that person how he was so confident, because he was like, oh, this person's not even that attractive, like how is he so confident? And that person told him that he knows that he's not the most attractive person in the world, but he has admitted that no matter what happens, he's going to live in this body forever till the day he dies. He's going to live in this body with this face no matter what. And so he realized that if he wants other people to love him, he needs to start learning how to love himself, because you're not going to be loved if you don't love yourself, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like confidence makes you more attractive or like more likable as a person, maybe.
Yeah, confidence honestly is really attractive.
And the word Eurocentric features is kind of like, I think it's overrated in my opinion. Like, literally, like, even if you're not even if you're a person of color, even if you're a beautiful person of color, there will be people out there who invalidate your beauty just because you're a person of color or you don't have Eurocentric features. So screw those people and be confident with yourself, okay?
Yeah, don't let the colonizer Pillsbury Doughboy looking people tell you what is beautiful and what is not, okay? You are beautiful.
Oh my God.
Okay, so our last subject that we have is like gender and sexuality and identity. So the first one is like not knowing what gender or sexuality you are.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is like just experiment and like live your life basically. I mean, there's like no due date for this, you know? Like there's no right time or wrong time to find out or come out. So I think that's like the most important thing to know. And also, you don't even have to label yourself if you don't want to. I think labels make people feel more like secure because society already puts people in boxes. So I guess it makes them feel more secure, but I think it's a healthy thing to not use labels because I think they mostly cause harm or like mostly cause more bad than good.
Don't box yourself in. I think I probably already said this before, but I think it's really, really important that you don't box yourself in. Like, for example, straight guys. They spend a lot of their time seeing if their behavior matches their perceived identity of themselves. So, like, oh, does painting my nails make me gay? Does putting on makeup make me gay? Like, do all these things make me gay? And they're like questioning it every second. And I think they should, if it's a way you express yourself, then first of all, it's not gay. Second of all, if it was gay, that, like, air quotes, that doesn't mean it would be a bad thing. And I just feel like we need to spend less time boxing ourselves in and like questioning ourselves, and more time just being happy and being who we are.
Yeah, and like adding on to like what Ina was saying about like boxing stuff like people in and like the stereotypes. I think so many of that has been like imprinted in our society for like hundreds of years. And I think we just really have to break out of that. And I mean, like, for example, like clothing items, like only men can wear like tuxedos and only women can like wear dresses or skirts. Like, why is that like that, you know? Why can't people wear another gender's clothing without being criticized? Like, for example, men being called gay if they wear feminine clothing. First of all, why is that an insult? That should not be an insult at all, and that should not have a negative connotation to it. And I mean, I'm just like saying, like, when is there going to be a time when we can just be us and be proud of being us without being criticized for it? Like, why are we being put in these labels? They only cause harm, really, for us.
Right. All of these labels we have, like, oh, like gay, lesbian, whatever. I think they should be used for like explaining it to people, sort of, but they should never be used to define who you are. Like, just because you're this doesn't mean you have to like these things. You can be whatever you want within that. And I think I think it's a good thing to kind of be like not have labels that much.
Yeah, just like live in the moment and don't waste your time like stressing about like again, I she had said like you have your whole life. Like be happy. Just that's your ultimate goal. Be present.
Okay, and another question about this gender identity topic was like if you're ready to come out, like choosing who to tell and like who are you comfortable telling with and stuff like that. But like if you don't feel comfortable telling someone, then don't tell them. Like even if it's your parents, if you don't feel safe or comfortable, I would still hold off on that. Or if like maybe there's like one parent you feel comfortable and one parent you don't feel comfortable with.
And I feel like most of the time people are worried about coming out because they're worried about the criticisms they'll get. But I think that you should ignore those criticisms because they're BS. They're complete BS. A lot of times people, those kind of people think that your sexuality is their business, but it's not at all, and your sexuality is not harming anybody. So just go for it. And if you want to find someone that you want to talk to about it, usually go for someone who doesn't give any F's about what other people think because they will not judge you and they probably won't even care to tell anybody. So you're secure. It's just what I think.
Yeah, I think you just really have to tell the people who you trust the most and that support you unconditionally the most. And also, I think you really have to take in consideration like how people will react to it. Like they shouldn't react badly, but I think you have to put in perspective of how the person was raised and like know that it's nothing personally, it's just how they were brought up. So yeah.
Yeah. They grew up in a different generation, presumably more homophobic and transphobic one. So I mean, I guess try to be the bigger person, understand where they're coming from, but also trying to explain yourself as best you can to them. And if they still don't accept you, just try not to bring it up, I guess. I don't really know.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think you should just not bring it up to parents because I think keeping your sexuality like a secret and feeling like you have to hide your real self from the people that are close to you is like extremely like stressful and I think harmful to the person coming out. So I think you just really have to, as I said before, like prepare for reactions and also like come out when you feel ready to come out and know that there's no pressure into it. Like there's no right time or wrong time to do it. So, and also like what Rachel said before about like people being afraid to be criticized, I want to make like another point of how like some people think, you know, like when you come out, they think that things will change, which I mean, things will change, but at least you get to be yourself around the people closest to you. So I think it could be like a good change because then you're not playing a role for them, you're actually being your true self. And I really hope you get to the point where you truly love yourself and that your family loves you for who you are and your friends do too. So, yeah.
For sure, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so to wrap it up, that was our last question, so we're just going to end really soon, but we're going to leave you with a little something to think about. The relationships we have with ourselves are not ones of identity, rather, they must be relationships of differentiation, of creation, and of innovation. To be the same is really quite boring. Now, I wish that was my quote. I really wish I had said it, but it wasn't. That was Michael Foucault. I was surprised, and I wasn't the only person on the planet who had good ideas, too. Jenny?
Yes, 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 yes. I know that was fabulous. I love that. Okay. So I also have another little quote thingy. It's not mine. It says, Be yourself because everyone else is already taken. And let me tell you something. Be on a journey to find yourself, okay? Yeah, that's my quote. Hope you guys got inspired, Shay?
First of all, I just wanted to say that we're probably like the biggest hypocrites right now because we face all the stuff and don't take our own advice that we just gave to you, which honestly, we probably should. Also, I have a nice little quote that unfortunately didn't write. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. So, thank you for listening.
I hope you cried at how profound I am. I certainly did.
And also, if you made it this far, kudos to you. And yeah, so thank you so much for listening. And we'll be back in a week or two or three or maybe a month or more. I don't know. But yeah.
Adios. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.